Hi again then guys, and welcome to the first episode of another brand new series, Weekend Warriors. And this series is filling out the triple triad, if you will, of performance cars that we've featured in our various series. We've featured, of course, hot hatches, SUVs, sedans, etc. But in particular, there are three primary exotic classes. You've got supercars, which we've already featured and finished. We've got super sports cars, which we're currently still doing. But of course, we've never featured normal sports cars. The cars which are technically the lowest of those three classes, but are still hugely popular. And in terms of sales, sports cars outsell super sports and supercars by the thousands. They are far more popular because, primarily, they're far more affordable. That being said, many of the cars in this series to come do tend to have higher prices, including the one which we're starting with here, the Tesla Roadster, which is a 100,000 credit car, and that's actually not too far off the price that it was in real life as well. Now, the cars in this series are actually going to be divided within a few different subcategories for the sake of including cars that deserve to be included. So you've got traditional smaller sports cars here, the kind of stuff that you'd expect, like this Tesla. But we're also featuring vehicles which may not be an obvious choice, vehicles which you may expect to be in a different series, such as muscle cars. So why on earth are muscle cars going to be in this series? Well, for the very simple reason that in our muscle car series, Pumping Iron, that was only for the classic muscle cars. So in this series, we're featuring modern muscle cars, the Camaro, the Challenger, etc. Vehicles which deserve to be reviewed, but don't fall into the classic muscle car category, and in many ways are actually more similar to a modern sports car, especially in the case of something like the Camaro SS. So they will be featured here, and we will also be featuring some sports coupes, such as the Fiat Coupe, the Hyundai Genesis, the Audi TT Quattro, that kind of thing. So basically everything of a two-door sports car nature below super sports. That's basically what's going to be included here. Now this car, you'd probably think, doesn't really need to be here. Surely this should be in the Featherweight Flyers series. Well, visually, you'd be forgiven for assuming that, because it is a small sports car, and that's what that series was all about. But, as the name suggests, Featherweight Flyers are lightweight, small sports cars, and this is unfortunately not a lightweight small sports car. It's actually quite a lot heavier than it looks. Now, I love this car. I'm a huge fan of Tesla. They are my favourite vehicle manufacturer overall. I love the technology and the effort that they put into their cars, and this car would be my small sports car of choice if I had the money to go out and buy one. This would definitely be the sports car that I would buy. I love electric cars. I know a lot of petrol heads don't like them because they're electric, they don't use fuel. Personally, I think that's stupid reasoning, because if it gives you good performance, who cares what it runs on? And electric cars do give you distinct advantages over petrols, diesels, etc. Like everything, they do have the disadvantages, but the advantages that they have are not to be dismissed. And many people, unfortunately, do dismiss them because they assume that they're not very good. Now, electric cars, as I said, do have disadvantages, and the main disadvantage that you notice on this car is that weight. And the reason for that is very simple: current battery technology. Electric cars, in order to have decent range, are forced to have literally thousands of batteries fitted to them, and those batteries weigh a lot. It's the majority of the car's weight, in fact. Now, if you reduce that battery size, in the future, of course, with different tech, you'll be able to get these cars to be direct rivals of ultra-lightweight sports cars, but at the moment, that battery technology just isn't available. So, as a result, this is a heavier car than you'd probably like. It weighs 1,037 kilos with the full weight loss package, and has, of course, an electric motor, putting out a pretty decent 277 horsepower, and this is another advantage of electric cars, really good torque. 273 foot-pounds, and unlike a petrol or diesel, there is no lag at all. When you press that throttle, you get full power instantly. Literally, maximum power is there exactly when you need it. Full torque, full power. That gives you very good acceleration. And the fact that electric cars have so much torque also means that they don't need a traditional gearbox because of the way they work, actually similar to a turbine in some ways. Now this car has direct drive, a single forward gear, and that also kind of hinges into another potential downside that people assume that electric cars have, and that is top-end performance. They're typically not very good. This car, the Tesla Model S as well, the Fisker Karma, the Nissan Leaf, even the Tajima e-Runner aren't that great when it comes to top speed. But the reason for that is very simple. The manufacturers are forced to do that because electric cars' batteries need to be protected, and at those kind of speeds they become extremely inefficient. The power percentage that they burn up actually increases more so than at lower speeds, so they actually become far less efficient at that speed. They get overheated very easily, and it's just not worth it for the protection of the battery, for a production vehicle especially. So the top speed can sometimes seem to be not that great. In the real world, 130 miles per hour is more than enough for most situations. On the game, that can appear to be a downside. But there are two things to note about this car. Number one is that, first of all, it's only 477 pp, and to have that top speed there is not bad at all. The second thing is that that top speed remains the same regardless of how little power you restrict it to. So those two things are actually very significant advantages to your electric car. And as far as handling, I would actually say that the Tesla is better than the Lotus or the Vauxhall VX220. So it is more of a niched car, but I would definitely recommend giving this car a chance. But that's it overall for our first episode of Weekend Warriors, and I'll see you guys next time. But for now, thanks for watching.